You're welcome to Break the Bars of Iron program. Now, Break the Bars of Iron, for some of you who are watching me for the first time, it is the only program in the world today that enables you to see some of the invisible forces that prevent you from achieving your God-given potential. Now, last week, in our live series of teachings, we looked at the concept of truth, and we discovered that truth is not information. We went on to examine this concept in a little more detail. We looked into instances where truth can be destroyed. It can be used to criticize others in a malicious way. And such information cannot be considered as truth. Now, in part 2 of the live series of teachings, we are going to look at principle number 2, which declares that truth is finished at the beginning and not the end. Write this down. Truth is finished at the beginning and not the end. Now, if you want to know truth about anything, you must focus on its origin. The origin of a thing is what holds it up. Now, if this origin is built on the wrong premise, then there will always be error in future teachings. It is not surprising to see that our world system has all along relied on misinformation. When you look at our church historical records today, all information that we have on record begins from the world system. If you carefully look at the Bible, which is the most read book in the world today, if you carefully open the Bible in the book of Genesis chapter 2, verses 8, it reads like this. It says, "The Lord God planted a garden on the eastward side of Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed." Now, your origin begins from Eden and not the world system. In the world system, you are an illegal immigrant. Let me explain how you ended up in the world system. Now, if you carefully look at the story of Adam and his wife Eve, they were formed and lived a good life in Eden. After they violated the rules of this environment, they were evicted from Eden and now entered the world system. So the world system begins at the time of Genesis chapter 4 of the Bible, where they had their children Cain and Abel. So everything that we have in the world today begins from the world system. Today, it's very unfortunate that after 2,000 years today, our archaeologists have failed to find Eden. And the reason why they have failed to find Eden is because of the systems of education. When educational studies introduced geographical studies, people started looking at the biblical places and linking them to places. It is 2,000 years Eden has been lost in our world system. If you look at science, science is about observation and experiments. Now, these experiments and observations are made on you people. God never created you as an experiment of the world system. He never wanted you to be an experiment of a scientific study. Your life is not subject to an experiment. God originally designed you and placed you in Eden. It is Eden that you are meant to be looking for. Now, when you look at religion today, religion itself is a design system of human control. If you carefully look at the concept of religion, it was derived from a Latin word called relingare. Relingare in Latin meant to bind and to tie. Now, what was being tied here? It was your future. It was your future life in Eden. Now, it's 2,000 years. Information about Eden has been lost in our world system. This program introduces you to that information. If you carefully look at all our scientific studies, religious studies, and our archaeological evidence, nothing has been found about Eden. I've studied theology. I've studied law. I've studied education. Nothing has been taught about Eden. Yet this concept is very significant to the human race. You and I were formed originally in Eden. Your truth was already finished by the time God placed you in Eden. Now, if those of you read the Bible, God told Jeremiah that I knew you while you're still in your mother's womb. I knew you and ordained you to be a prophet of all nations. Now, Jeremiah's truth was finished before his formation. Now, you are meant to put yourself in Jeremiah's situation. You are the Jeremiah today. God is saying, I knew you before you were born. I knew you before I put you in your mother's womb. I defined your purpose. I defined your journey. And I placed the journey within you. He never wanted you to rely upon the world system. He built you with capacity and all information that you needed to fulfill that purpose on the earth. But when you came in the world system, your parents signed an illegal contract on your behalf, and that was the birth certificate. Now, this birth certificate made you a permanent member of the world system. But how do you come out of this condition? We have been told by religion that sin is an action we do. That is a wrong perception. It's a wrong misconception of the world system. Sin has never been an action people do. Sin is a condition that you have been placed into by the world system. And that condition is universal. So most of you don't know the kind of condition that you have been placed into, and that's why you're finding it difficult to overcome your life issues here today. Now, your truth was already finished at the beginning. It's not what you're seeing today. What you're seeing today are basically conditions, external conditions that are affecting the very person of who you are. This program introduces you to those conditions. Your truth, just like Jeremiah, was finished at the beginning and not the end. Next week, we are looking at the third principle of truth. God bless you and see you next time.